I've mentioned this a few times already, but I'm going to reiterate. I think that the way that you should do day game as you get to an advanced level, rather than taking a lot of phone numbers, is to actually start taking girls on instant dates. And in fact, even if you are going to take phone numbers, it's a good idea to do an instant date with a girl before getting the phone number because it only makes the number super, super, super solid. All right, but the idea is, again, you're going to have to spend a certain amount of time with the girl in order to have sex with her and build a relationship with her anyway. So you may as well do it right then and there when you're both present. Okay, so that's the idea of the instant date. The other great thing about the instant date is it basically is the female fantasy. Like the girl's ultimate fantasy of meeting a guy is, I met this guy in the day, our eyes met, it was beautiful, we spent the whole day together, we got to know each other, it was intimate, the night fell, one thing led to another, and boop, his penis was inside of me. That's kind of like the female fantasy. And so by doing instant dates, you're actually giving them that fantasy, it just happened experience. So it can be an absolutely beautiful, beautiful thing. And again, the more time you spend with a girl on that initial meeting, the better. The other thing you want to understand of why instant dates are so important is this. As long as you're still in the same place where you met the girl, it feels like a pickup. It feels like she's getting picked up by some guy who has an agenda. As soon as you both agree to go somewhere together, it is no longer a pickup. It's now two people who have agreed they like each other on something like a date. And the frame of a date is already romantic, and also the frame of a date is that it's just as important for her to impress you and win you over, and she wants it to work just as much as you do. Okay, so that's very, very critical. It's a fundamental shift that as soon as you get on the date, now you're in it together instead of it being this idea of you want something from her. So it makes such a fundamental change in everything. It's so valuable. I highly, highly suggest doing instant dates. And the biggest thing, I think, instant dates are actually not that hard. I'm going to explain to you in a second exactly how to do all of them. But the biggest thing I think that holds people back is that two things. Either A, they don't believe that it's possible, they don't believe they can do it, or B, they're so caught up in trying to make every interaction feel like a victory that they just want to get the cheap, flaky phone number and feel like, oh, I won that situation, even though most of the time it's going to flake and they're going to lose down the line. Okay, so don't think about the shallow victory of I feel good about the set right now. Think about the real victory of I had sex with a girl or I built a relationship with a girl. And if that's your goal, instant dating is a no-brainer. When going for the instant date, as with many things in game you may have noticed, you really need to just ask. You need to make the decision, you need to go for it, you need to assert yourself. That's absolutely critical. So many times I see guys, especially in day game, they open a girl on the street corner, they're talking to her for a little bit, and then they're talking to her for a little more, and a little more, and a little more, and before you know it, they've talked to her for half an hour on the street corner, and at the end the girl's like, well, this is weird and awkward. Okay, it was nice to meet you, take care, bye, and maybe they end up getting, a relatively flaky or maybe decent phone number, and that's the end of the interaction. Once a girl's talked to you for a few minutes, she already likes you, it's not that hard to be like, hey, you know what, as long as we're talking, why don't we just sit down over here, my feet are tired. Or you know what, I'm thirsty, let's go grab a smoothie, come on. Right? That kind of thing is totally normal. Think, what would you do with your friends? Would you sit with your friends and just talk on a street corner doing nothing? Or would you walk and talk or go somewhere or do something? You would walk, go somewhere, do something. You should act the exact same way with someone you just met. Right? You should take the frame, treat them like they're already your friends, treat them like it's a foregone conclusion that you like each other. And if you have that frame and that belief, she will believe it as well. Okay? But you have to ask. The biggest single thing in getting instant dates, just ask. And by the way, ask earlier than you think you should, right? Ask earlier than you think necessary. It's better to, especially if you ask softly, it's better to ask and then find out that it's not going to happen and be able to solve the situation than it is to wait and wait and wait and make it very, very awkward. Okay? And that actually brings me to the next point, which is when you are starting to do an instant date, you need to screen her situation. It's very critical for instant dating and actually for day game in general, extraordinarily critical point. You need to find out what is her situation. Okay? If her situation is that she's on her way to work and has to be there 5 minutes ago, and it's also half a block away and she's walking fast, that's a very different kind of interaction than if she's, exploring the city for 4 hours on her own before she meets up with a friend, which is actually a very different interaction from she has all day to kill because she missed her flight and she has no idea what to do to fill her time. Right? Those are three very different scenarios, and there are different outcomes available to you under each of those 3 scenarios. If you know that, now you can play the game properly for the scenario, but you need to get that information, okay? So you need to ask the question, and this is a very highly stylized question. What are you doing this exact second? And there's a reason why I ask, okay? Now you don't have to use that whole phrase, but there is a reason for all of it, okay? Here are the reasons. Number 1, what are you doing? Obviously, I need to know. What are you doing this exact second means what are you doing right now, not what are you doing 5 minutes from now, 20 minutes, half an hour from now. Because if you say, what are you doing, she's going to think about all her plans for the day and fill them in, which is going to make her seem very busy to her and to yourself, and it's going to make it awkward to continue the interaction. Whereas you say, what are you doing this exact second? Well, the literal answer is she's talking to you, right? And the fact of the matter is, if she is talking to you, she's obviously not doing something that urgent. So it gives you a situation where you can screen her logistics without hearing a lot of negative information, right? You'll hear the information in a more positive context rather than a more negative one, and it's one that will make her seem less busy rather than more. So it will give her every excuse to hang out with you a bit more. And then when I say, and there's a reason why I ask, the reason I throw that in is just in case she has a really bad logistical situation, at least she won't just leave right there. She's at least going to stay to hear the reason why you ask her, at least stay to continue the conversation. So that hooks it in a little bit more in those off chances that you get very negative information. Okay, so that's the phrase I use. What are you doing this exact second? There's a reason why I ask. Or I'll use some part of it. But the big thing is you need to screen and find out her situation one way or another. Super, super critical. Without that information, it's very, very difficult to run the set properly because you may have 30 seconds or you may have 30 hours, right? And again, they're very, very different scenarios. The next couple factors in how to do an instant date really get to what is the female psychology of the instant date. And the instant date for you, you may be thinking all the way to, I want to have sex with this girl. For the girl, it's not like that. For the girl, again, girls aren't like a light switch on or off in terms of attraction. It's more of a dimmer switch. It's more attraction over time, and they need to spend that time with you in order to feel it. So what you need to think in terms of getting girls home, instant dating, having a successful dating life in general, is think about singles, not home runs. Think about just getting to the next step, then the next step, then the next step, not about getting all the steps in one. I call this baby stepping. So rather than think about, I met this girl, now how do I get her directly to my place? Think, I met this girl, how do I get her to spend 5 minutes with me? I met this girl, and she spent 5 minutes with me, how do I get her to come somewhere where it's relaxing and casual and we're together and we can spend an hour together? And then you say, okay, cool. If it's going really well, maybe you'll take her back to your place. If not, how do I get this girl to a place that's a little more intimate and has a little more of a sexual vibe? And then you think, how do I get this girl back to my place? So instead of going for one huge sale, you go for a bunch of little sales within it. And each of the little sales, you're more likely to hear yes to. This again may remind you of invisible escalation, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's the same concept over and over again throughout game, which is every time that you do something and you hear yes, it makes the next yes easier. Every time you do something and you hear no, it makes the entire situation more difficult. So it's better to go for little things and build it up than to go for the whole thing all at once. So that's the idea of baby stepping. Lastly, how do you make the sale? How do you convince the girl to go with you specifically? Well, here's the thing. Most guys, if they're trying to convince a girl to go on an instant date, they'll try and hype up the instant date. And there is some validity to this and some value. If it seems like a really cool place, it may intrigue her and she may like it. So definitely don't make the place seem boring. And definitely don't go out of your way not to hype up the place. But understand this. If the girl's already talking with you, she already likes you. So the bigger factor is not her liking you or her being interested or her being like aroused by the whole situation. The bigger factor is her safety. Okay? Understand that women are smaller than men. Bad things do happen to women in certain situations. And so women are taught from a very, very young age to be cautious around men. So what she wants to hear when she's going to go somewhere with a stranger, which, let's be fair, in 5 minutes, even if she likes you, you still are a stranger. What she wants to hear is not that it's amazing, amazing, amazing. She wants to hear it's safe, and if you want to leave, you can. So instead of trying to sell how amazing it is, you sell how low risk it is. You sell how much it's not a big deal. Right? You say, oh yeah, let's go sit on this bench, it's just right over here. Right? Or oh yeah, we're going to go over here, it's just a couple blocks, no big deal. That kind of stuff, right? Another good phrase, and I use this for pulling from clubs, I use this from taking girls home from dates, and I'll use it for instant dates if I have to, even the full phrase, but definitely the concept is, we're going to go somewhere lovely that you will love. If you don't love it, then you can leave. And it doesn't really matter either way because I'm having a good time and that's what really matters. This is the key phrase to pulling, Key phrase to instant dating, key phrase to getting a girl home from a date, and actually in a way the key phrase to all of pickup and meeting girls, because it conveys everything you want. We're going to go to good place, like a lovely place that you'll love, right? That's good, right? It's a positive place. It's not a shitty place. That's important. Next and most important, and if you don't love it, then you can leave. If you don't love it, you can go home, right? It's not obligation. It's not binding. It's not a big deal. There's no pressure. There's no like confinement or constraint. It's a totally safe offer. That's very, very critical because, again, the biggest concern for girls when they venue change with guys is not that it won't be fun. It's that it might be super awkward and that it won't be safe, right? So if she knows she can leave, that makes her at ease with the whole situation. And then the last part's very important as well, that I'm having a good time no matter what. That's important because you're conveying to her that you're viewing the interaction as a fun interaction, as an experience, which is how she's viewing it as well, as opposed to how most guys view it, which is as a victory or as a situation where they want to get something from her or use her in some way. So it's a very value-offering frame and a very fun experiential frame, and that frame is going to help you a lot. So again, that phrase that's super critical because it bears repeating, we're going to go somewhere lovely that you'll love. If you don't love it, then you can leave. And it doesn't really matter because either way, I'm having a good time, and that's what really matters, isn't it? Okay, so that phrase, that idea, super, super, super critical, all right? So when you go out there and do your day game, I want you to start doing those instant dates. I want you to just ask. Just go for it. Know the mentality. Know that it's important. And have the right frame, which again is that super frame that I just mentioned to you. So now I'm going to show you some infield examples of getting instant dates. And there are a few critical criteria I want you to remember here. First is just ask. The biggest reason you don't get instant dates is you don't believe it's possible and you don't ask, okay? You must be doing that. Beyond that, you want to keep in mind that you're selling that it's not a big deal. If you make it a big deal, girls will get nervous about it and they'll reject it. If you make it very casual and very normal and just a natural part of the interaction, it will tend to happen for you. So here are some great examples right now. You're quite cute.
Thank you.
What are you doing right this exact second of your life?
Shopping.
Shopping.
Or we'll talk to you right now, but shopping, yeah.
I like the second answer. That means you're literal and smart. See, I'm thinking that it's very hot and I want to take you for some kind of smoothie or related beverage for 2 minutes and find out if you're as cool and interesting as I think you might be.
Okay.
Does that sound like the worst idea in the world?
No.
I like that. Unfortunately, this is my first time here, so I don't know smoothie places. I
don't either. Yeah.
We could go. Actually, Whole Foods is right around the corner. We can go grab like a smoothie there. You cool with that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Let's do it.
So your name's Todd?
It is.
And you're not from Vegas?
I am not from Vegas. Do it this way. You know, I'm nice like that sometimes. Half the time I'm an asshole, but you know, half the time I'm nice.
I actually just came with you, so Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah.
So
you're like,
not as deep as you thought.
Well, at least you're living in the information age. Do you have a name, Miss like Wi-Fi thief? I might have to report you, by the way. I'm gonna go in there and be like, look, there's this chick out there. She's stealing your bandwidth as we speak.
She's using your Wi-Fi against your walls.
No, it's like this is like Wi-Fi abuse, Wi-Fi assault, Wi-Fi. I was gonna say Wi-Fi rape, but that's a little strong.
You think?
A little strong. It is. Do you have a name?
Yeah.
Where are you from? Very nice. You just visiting?
No, I moved here a couple of months ago.
Shouldn't you have a data plan? I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
I should.
I'm just like, I'm American. I don't have data either because I just got here. But like,
yeah, I should.
Look, little girl, you need some. You need some direction in your life. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, not everything works out exactly how you want it. By now, I should have data though.
I'm sorry. It's on like your to-do list, you know. Make rent, have data.
Yeah.
Things like. I'm sorry. I'm taking so much fun of you. I apologize. What are you doing like besides the Wi-Fi thing right now? You're just out and about.
Right now?
Yeah.
Well, I came to pick up my passport because I forgot.
You left it. You went to a club, left it somewhere.
No, I went to induction for my new job and then I forgot it there.
Okay. Fair enough.
And then I was thinking about
having an ice cream with a cute boy? Because there's this Haagen-Dazs right across. I didn't know this was here. I've been through here like 4 times, but it's like late at night. I never saw it. I'm like, you know what? I might have to do an ice cream. If I do ice cream alone, then I'm like an addict. It's like drinking, right? If you drink alone, you're an alcoholic. But if like you drink with friends, it's social.
I woke up and then I had a beer.
Come here, you.
Is that bad?
I fucking love you. I'm so glad you said that. A little bit. It's a little bad, but I can live with it. Is that so bad?
Fucking hell. I need this shit to work.
Wow. I thought you Europeans were so sophisticated, but you swear just like an American.
Yeah. People aren't sophisticated whatsoever. I think you have to go more south.
It was nice meeting you then. I was looking for someone sophisticated and cool. I mean, you're pretty and everything, but I don't know if this is gonna work.
Oh, okay. Well, too bad.
My heart's broken.
You know, shit happens.
Stop swearing. Just kidding.
You can't.
You can't. Just like
In
boom,
my
boom, boom.
DNA.
I was like, actually, how old were you when you learned English? 'Cause you speak very well.
Well, I started learning English in 2nd grade.
Makes sense. Okay, are you looking at anything specific, or would you like to continue this over ice cream?
Do they have Wi-Fi in there?
If it doesn't extend over there, then we can bring it back here, and you can steal their table and their Wi-Fi. I bet you'll get away with it.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Okay.
Let's do this. Okay, you have a little, sorry, you have like a hair in your face too, like right, okay, there you go. Uh-huh.
Well, you have a lot of hair right there.
Well, no, it was just the one that was like right there.
Oh.
She had the little one hair mustache going on. It was all right.
No, we mustn't have a mustache on.
No, no. None of this, none of that. Fair enough. So I am tempted to hang out with you guys later, but what do you guys, if I were to invite you guys to come meet up with a friend of mine and grab a drink, all of us, at some point, like in the near, next 10 minutes or so, would you be massively opposed to that, or would you be like, sounds like fun, this guy's amazing? Yeah? I like this girl, she's adventurous. Although, actually, is she trouble? Should I, you know her well, should I run away right now? Am I getting in over my head? She's cool?
We're still friends. It's up to her. That's why we're still friends. Yes, that's why we're still friends.
Yeah? We weren't friends initially because you were like cool, but now.
Because I'm awesome. It's just awesome.
Really?
We're two awesome chicks. Like, you know? Yes.
I like the collective awesomeness. All right. In that case, I'll join you for a second. Let me see what my friend's up to and see if he's actually like. He's supposed to meet me later, but let me see if he can come out like a little sooner.
What made you like approach us? Were you like just people watching and you saw us?
No, I came off the escalator and I saw you guys and I was like, they look like fun. Why not? Whatever. I hope you aren't. Hope you don't mind my presumptuousness of thinking that you look cute and fun, and I wanted to say hi. Oh, girl, I know I'm fine. That's cool. That makes sense. Okay, let's walk inside, shall we? I know you don't want to walk, but it's only that far. Can we get an airplane? Is that what you said?
Escalator.
There is an escalator. Yeah, the ups and downs you can handle by escalator, but you might have to walk something like 150 yards. It is less far than the walk to Mandalay Bay, though. So I'm actually saving you walk, as far as that goes. I'm making your life easier and more fun at the same time. Don't be a troublemaker. Come here. I will make your life easier and harder all at once.
Sure.
Easier because it'll be fun and luxurious. Harder because you're gonna, just don't get attached, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right. Say, oh no. Oh no. Live longer, live happier. That sort of thing. I'm not gonna get all preachy and life coachy on you.
I guess I've never really thought of it that way. It's more of like feel good now. I want to feel good now. I don't want to feel like crap.
Aw.
So.
I don't know. Cool. Would you like to join me for a little bit, or?
Where are you going?
I haven't the foggiest idea. I'm extremely lost. I was looking for a place where I can get tea, coffee, or smoothie in the near vicinity.
You can get a smoothie. There's I think there's juice. Yeah, sure.
Actually, I'm very controversial and debatable. So, I start off charming and then I become controversial and debatable. It's my nature. Very interesting. So how long's your break?
45 minutes.
Oh, hell, okay. Because I was thinking I have to eat, and I was thinking I had to grab a bite with someone cute and amazing, but I didn't want to, if it was a 5-minute break, I didn't want to impose.
Well, I'm going to Chipotle. You want to come?
Okay, I'll do Chipotle with you.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good. Why do you have to be so cute? If we could just be unattractive, I could just leave right now. I'd just be like, I'm sorry.
What do you want me to say to that?
I'm sure you're so sorry. So you'll notice I'm doing a few things the same in all those examples. First is I'm selling wherever we're going as a cool, fun place. Next is I'm selling that it's not a big risk. Nothing bad is going to happen to them. They can leave whenever they want. It's not a huge obligation. And the last is that it's not a big deal. It's not something with heavy meaning. It's not like we're going to have sex if they come with me, or they're going to be my girlfriend because they came with me. Anything like that, all right? It's just about having a good time, getting to know each other. It's fun, it's casual, it's light. When you want to go for the venue change, that's super critical. And the reason why the venue change is so important, as I've mentioned before, is that as soon as you do the venue change, as soon as you move from that place you met them, it's no longer a cold approach. Now it's two people who like each other and are getting to know each other, and that's a much better frame to have. So that's why it's so critical that you just ask and do those instant dates every single time you can. Here's your at-home exercise for getting instant dates. It's very, very simple. It has nothing to do with game, but it has everything to do with planning. And oftentimes planning is more important than your actual game. What you're gonna do is I want you to make a list of all the places that you can go on instant dates. Start off with, what are places near your house? What are places near where the location you could have sex is that you could take a girl on an instant date? Because those are gonna be very, very useful for you to go back to, right? You wanna know the coffee shops near your house. You wanna know the places for ice cream, the places for drinks, the places that are fun and amusing, maybe parks. If there's an intermediate venue, like a place that's near or part of your apartment that doesn't seem to be in the apartment complex. Something like if you have a pool nearby or something like that, or if there's a good cool rooftop with a good view, anything like that that's a good instant date location, you need to know about it. Secondly, I want you to think about the places you're likely to be meeting women, whether it's you go to a specific place to do day game, or you meet girls in and around your office, or in and around your campus, or something like that. And I want you to think about the venue change places, the instant date locations there, right? What are the coffee shops? What are the ice cream places? What are the places for drinks? What are the fun social areas you can do? What are places you can even just go and sit down and chill out and, like, you know, just lie in the grass? Whatever it is that appeals to you, come up with all those locations, because you're going to need to have a game plan. It's very, very important that you have an idea of what you're doing. Here are some infield exercises you can do to get more instant dates. The first couple are just about going for it. A lot of times when I do hot seat and I break down footage, I ask, why did the girl come somewhere with me? Why did the girl come somewhere with me? And I hear a lot of crazy ideas. You know, it's because you conveyed value, because you made it non-threatening. The real answer almost always is because I asked. She went with me because I asked. Had I not asked, she wouldn't have done it. Now, all those other things play a part, yes, but you just have to ask. Okay, so that's what we're doing more than anything in these first two exercises, is just teaching you to ask. So the first one, the first level you could say, is every single time you talk to a girl for 10 minutes or more, you must try to instant date her. You must. You can even set a timer if you want to. But anytime you talk to a girl for at least 10 minutes, you must try and instant date. That's level one. Second drill, which is level two, is you have to start trying to instant date the girl right off the open. From the first second you start talking to her, you have to be thinking, how do I get her to go somewhere? How do I get her to go somewhere, right? You could even go like within 10 seconds of starting if you want to, or as soon as she starts, better might be as soon as she starts qualifying, or as soon as she asks you a question. As soon as there's any hint that she likes you at all, you need to be thinking instant date, all right? I want that to be the first thing on your mind in day game. How do I instant date, okay? Third exercise for getting more instant dates is a little more of a technical exercise and will actually help you to make the other two happen. And that is, I want you to start screening her logistics from the first moment of the set. Or ideally, maybe not the first moment, but the first moment to get any vibe that she likes you. So you want to find out, what is she doing this exact moment? What is she doing? What are her plans? What is her overall framework? What part of the city is she staying in? These are the little bits of information that are going to help you to know to instant date. But what you really need to know more than anything else is how much time does she have right now and what are her immediate plans. If you know those little bits of information, you'll know what kind of instant date makes sense. You also know whether an instant date makes sense at all. There are certain times when it won't be right to do an instant date because you're so time rushed, and in those cases you'll have to just settle for a phone number. But this is critical information. You should be finding it out in every set, so practice it in this exercise.